welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm so excited. For my first video, I did like a little poll on Instagram and everybody was really intrigued with my birth story. So let's just get right to it. Okay, let's start with how my pregnancy was. I actually had a very good pregnancy compared to other stories that I've heard. I did not have any sickness my first trimester. My second trimester was the best. Like, I was pregnant and just feeling good and my little cute bump and everything. But my last trimester, I had tons and tons and tons of Braxton Hicks contractions. So I was already ready. I was so ready to give birth. At my 37-week checkup, I asked my doctor, can you give me a little bit more information about the process of getting induced, who it's for, and all that? So she gave me the breakdown. She stated that when you get induced, the chances of you having postpartum depression are lower. The chances of you going and having a C-section are lower. So in my head, I was like, yes, sign me up. Like, I know when I'm gonna give birth, I'm not gonna have the chances of me having a C-section are lower than going into natural labor, and the chances of me having postpartum depression are lower. Like, yes, let's do this. I did not realize what I was about to get myself into, right? Next week comes around, she lets me know that it's gonna be July 15th. My due date is July 20th, so it was pretty close. I was already full term, so I felt safe going through with it, especially because the doctor is telling you that everything's gonna be fine, and it's actually gonna be better than going into natural labor. So July 15th comes around. The time they scheduled me was 6 a.m. We show up. It takes hours for everything to get processed, my insurance. Like, I'm just sitting there waiting with my maleta and shit. So I'm just sitting there, and then I actually didn't get induced until I believe it was 1 p.m. So the doctor comes in and she explains the whole process of how, like, it's about to go down. And, you know, it gets me prepared. I'm like already excited. I'm listening to what she's saying, but I'm really excited. Because all I want is my baby out of my belly, in my arms. Like, that's all I wanted, right? The process of getting induced is they're going to put like the Pitocin inside of you. And then they're going to put like this deflated like a little balloon through your cervix. It's going to blow up. They're going to blow it up. And the moment it pops out is when you hit 5 centimeters, right? She checks me to see if I'm even dilated. And I'm at 1 centimeter when I'm like at 1 p.m. I'm at 1 centimeter. She tells me, okay, it's in, like, we're good. So then the second nurse has to come in and check to make sure it's in, and it's not in. And I was already annoyed because it was already really painful. At 1 o'clock is when they induced me. Like, time is going on, and there's like this little button you can press whenever like the pains are getting a little bit stronger, and it helps with, it's like some pain reliever, and it helps, right? So I keep pressing it and pressing it. Each time it turns green because I'm in pain. Like, this is painful. So then finally, it hits 5 p.m. and the balloon pops out. So I'm like, hell yes, like, this is happening, and it's happening pretty fast. So I call the nurse. She comes in and she tells me, she was stunned. She told me, this was not supposed to happen until 11 p.m. Like, this is happening today. Like, let your family know. Anybody that's going to be in the room, let your family know. So I message my sister and I tell her, dude, I'm giving birth today. Like, today, it's happening. Like, head to the hospital. So my mom, my dad, my niece, and my sister pull up to the hospital, and like, I'm just in pain and I'm complaining about pain. So at 5, whenever the balloon came out, that's whenever they asked me if I was ready for my epidural. Because even when you get there, they ask you, are you gonna have your epidural or not? Like, they want to know which like patient you're gonna be, epidural or not epidural. So I told them, like, yes, epidural. Like, I need my epidural, right? I cannot, like, no. Like, I wanted to give birth naturally, but I needed some drugs. So the guy for the epidural comes in and he explains to me how it's about to, like, how I'm supposed to be still and that this is a very serious thing. And, you know, they prep me for that. So I like get up and I sit on the side of my bed, and I'm like, they pull up the bed up high so that it could be like almost like my back could be eye to eye to the doctor. So they put my bed up and I'm hugging the nurse, and I'm just like, this is all for Adrian. Like, I'm just thinking that to myself. But then I hear that there's actually 2 doctors behind me, and one of the doctors is training. The other doctor, he's telling him how to do it, and I'm just like, oh my God, not again. Like, my nurse is already training my other nurse, and now my doctor is training the other doctor. So then when he puts epidural in, I felt the liquid go more to my left side. So I was like, this does not feel right. Like, I'm sure it's not supposed to feel like more to my left. And then my epidural is in, and like time goes by, and it's like I'm finally feeling like relief, and I'm not as much pain. My family comes in, we're like chatting or whatever, and then I start to feel pain again, and I'm like, dude, like, I'm already feeling more contractions. I can feel my contractions. So I call the doctor and I tell him, I can feel the contractions. He comes in and he puts eyes on my right hip, like on the right side of my stomach, and I can feel it. But he puts the ice on my left side and I can't feel it. So the doctor is like, I mean, I can give you some more drugs, but that's like all I can do. So he gives me some more drugs, and they shoot it like up my back again. But when they put the epidural in, they leave something inside so that whenever I want more drugs, they just like shoot it into like the little tube, and it's already going up my back. They shot some more drugs, and they told me that this was a little bit stronger than the little button I was pressing. And so I'm just complaining about pain the whole time. My epidural was not done right. I could feel all my contractions. I just could feel everything. I kept complaining and complaining and complaining. Then like the nurse told me that I was gonna have the baby today, right? Like July 15th. Well, time goes by and I'm not having this baby. I am not dilating past 7 centimeters. I am just not. They keep checking me and I'm not going past 7 centimeters. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I guess like this is taking longer than I expected, or they made me feel it would, you know? So everybody goes to sleep. My mom sleeps on the couch, and my mom, my sister, and my niece sleep right next to me on the couches. And my dad and my husband, they sleep in the lobby. Jonathan is so sweet. He wanted my mom and my sister to sleep in a more comfortable bed, so he went to the lobby. And I'm just like in pain, complaining about pain, and I'm just trying to suck it up. And so the nurse keeps telling me to turn to one side, and then she comes in like 30 minutes later and I have to flip to my other side. So I never like rested and went to sleep. I was just with my eyes closed trying to suck up this whole pain and just try to get through everything, right? Then at 5 in the morning, I hear the door open. I open my eyes and tell me why there's 3 doctors and 5 nurses in my room. My mom and my niece are snoring so loud. And so at first I was a little embarrassed. I was like, oh, hey, like what's happening? There's all these doctors in my room and there's all these nurses in my room. What's going on? And one of the doctors looks at me and he tells me, Vanessa, Adrian's heart rate keeps going up and down. It's getting pretty severe. That's why we're all in here. So we just have to keep a close eye on you. We need you to know that if this keeps happening, we're gonna have to do an emergency C-section. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a monitor attached to Adrian's head so we can keep a closer eye to his heart rate. So I was just like, okay, like whatever really needs to be done. I don't care, you know. I don't care if I have to get a C-section. Like, what do you need from me, you know? So he tells me, we're just gonna keep a close eye on you. We'll let you know like what's happening and if we need to do a C-section. So I'm just like, okay. The nurses stay, and that's whenever they take the monitor off my stomach, and they bring this other monitor where it's attached to this wire, and the monitor attaches to Adrian's head. So that means they have to go like up my vagina and put it on Adrian's head while he's still inside of my stomach. Like, what? So he's still inside of me and the monitor is connected, and I could feel each time I had a contraction, I could feel him like moving around, and the wire would just like move because it was like hitting my legs. That happened at 5 in the morning, but I didn't wake anyone up. I just wanted everyone to stay sleeping. Like, it wasn't an emergency yet. And I was just praying to God and just wanting everything to, you know, turn out. I just wanted everything to be right. I just wanted Adrian to be healthy, and I just needed to hope for the best, right? So at this point, whenever they put the wire, the monitor inside, they also checked to see how dilated I was, and I was still at 7 centimeters. So this whole time, like, it's already been 12 hours, and since 5 in the afternoon and 5 in the morning, I had only like opened up 2 more centimeters. So it was like not happening as fast as they expected me to. What they did, they also put like this pillow, or it's called like a peanut, and they put it between your legs so your legs can stay open even if you're on your side. And they kept having me on my side, on my other side. They would even make me get on my knees. And so they just kept flipping me back in every position that they could move me in. And I was just in so much pain. Like I said, every single time the light turned green, I would press it and press it and press it and press it and press it. So like I was not dilating anymore. His heart rate was still going up and down. And they told me, Vanessa, like, I think we're gonna have to just go ahead and do a C-section. Like, we don't want this to become a, like, you know, life or death situation for both you and Adrian, because my iron was also getting really low and my heart rate was going up and down as well. So I had like an oxygen max on me, right? Well, they asked me, we can go ahead and do a C-section now, or you want to wait 2 hours and see if you dilate anymore. So 2 hours go by and they check, and then they told me I dilated another centimeter. But then the other nurse checked to verify to see if it's exactly the same that she said, and no, I had not dilated anymore. I was still at 7 centimeters. So I was just like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Like I'm in so much pain already, and Adrian's heart rate is still going up and down. Like, let's do this. Let's do it. So they prep me for surgery. They come in and they tell me like what's about to happen again, and then they make you take this little shot before your surgery. So I took it, and then they pushed me into like this whole other floor where they're gonna do the surgery. I remember just like laying there and just thinking, what did I just get myself into? Like, I just felt like everything was my fault. You know, our bodies know what to do. They know when to go into labor. So instead of like forcing Adrian to come out and getting induced, I should have just waited. So I was just laying there blaming myself for everything. I felt so bad, and I felt selfish and stupid, and I just felt really bad in that moment. First I was laying there, right? And the doctor was trying to calm me down, and I was shaking. Like, when I tell you I was shaking, my body was going like that, like shaking. So the doctor was really trying to, like, but she's so cold, like we needed to put like warm blankets over her. And I wasn't cold, I was just, I heard someone else say that you can get the shakes from the epidural. So I think I just had the shakes. Like, I was just shaking, but I didn't feel cold. So I remember like looking down, and then there's like this nurse trying to teach another nurse how to take the wire off of Adrian. Like, he wasn't gonna come out of my vagina anymore, he was gonna come out of my stomach. So they had to like disconnect the wire from his head, the monitor. So they actually the nurse just pulls it. And I remember looking down, because I couldn't even lift my head. So I remember looking down to see what she was doing, and the wire had a bunch of hair at the end of it. And I was like, oh my God, like they just pulled this hair out of my baby's head. Are you kidding me? Then they put you've seen pictures of like when people have C-sections, how they have like a curtain, like you're laying down and the curtain is right here. That curtain felt so heavy on my neck. Like, I felt like it was, I couldn't breathe anymore. I remember telling the doctor, like, I feel like I can't breathe. And he told me that it was just because of all the drugs that they had like put in me. So I was just like trying to calm down, because I literally felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was shaking, and I had just seen them pull his hair out of my baby's head. So I was freaking out. And then that's when Jonathan walks into the room, and he's already like all prepared and like in his little outfit. So then when he comes in, like, oh my God, I was like, babe, like that's all I needed is for him to be by my side. So he starts talking to me and calming me down. And I would have not gotten through that if he wouldn't have came in. I would have probably passed out, because I was freaking out. I was having like a panic attack. So he's talking to me, and he's just like, baby, like this is all worth it. Like, this is gonna be all worth it. And they started cutting, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is happening. Like, this is happening. I'm getting cut open. And so I couldn't feel anything, right? And I was like, okay, like they were right, like I won't feel anything. I don't even feel them touching me, right? I don't feel anything. And so then they're in there and they're moving all my organs around and pulling shit out. And then I start feeling sharp pain near my ribs, right? I start feeling sharp pain. I start freaking out again, and I'm telling Jonathan, I can feel everything. I can feel all the pain. So they shoot more drugs up, and I can feel the coldness going up my back. Then I hear Adrian's cry, and I was like, oh my god, like that's our baby. And Jonathan is like right here, right? I'm just like this, and Jonathan is right here, and he's like, babe, like he's there. He was taking pictures of Adrian coming out, right? And in the pictures are not as graphic as I expected, because it took me a week to like see those pictures, because I was freaking out, right? But you can see like I'm a little open, but you can't see any organs, and you can see Adrian, like he's filled with like all that white stuff. And they took him over there, they weigh him, and then like they clean him up a little bit. So they asked Jonathan for his phone, so they could take pictures of Adrian. So he gives him his phone, and so he walks over and they give Adrian. So he comes back to me carrying Adrian, an actual baby. I was like, there's an actual baby in your arms that was just taken out of my stomach. Like, what the hell? So, but I'm already like still in pain. Like I can still feel the C-section happening. So I tell Jonathan, babe, like I can feel the pain again. Like, how much longer? How much longer is this gonna take for them to like, you know, close me back up? And they said 20 minutes. Girl, when they say 20 minutes, I was like, hell no. Like I cannot wait here 20 more minutes. Like, please give me some more, like more drugs, please. So they drug me up again, and I knock out. They finish up, and next thing you know, I'm like laying down like this, and then I open my eyes. And I was just like, oh my god, like I'm thinking like finally, like I'm not in surgery anymore, right? And then I see Jonathan walking towards me with a baby, with our baby. So I'm like, I'm so drugged though. Like I had so many drugs in my system that I was just like going in and out. Like my eyes are closing and opening, and I was just blinking so many times trying to stay awake. And then he gets closer and closer and closer to me. He puts him in my arms, and I was like, my baby. And I'm just looking at him, and then I'm like crying, and I'm getting pushed to the room that I'm gonna be staying in. I get pushed there, and I'm just staring at him, and I'm crying, and I'm like, my baby. And then they tell me like I had to take my gown off on top. Like there's like clips and stuff, so you take them off, and like you try to breastfeed them, and like do skin to skin. And you know, it just hit us like we just have this whole baby, and like the moment we had been waiting for, or like the last 9 months was here. So we were just taking that moment in, and it was just amazing. But then you realize that you just had surgery, and you're still in a lot of pain. Your body, my body in particular, since I had so many drugs in my system, was so swollen. Like I was so swollen. My right leg in particular was way like double the size of my left leg. And honestly, like at this point, like I'm so grateful that I had Jonathan with me, and that my husband is such an amazing guy, because he was just there for me through the whole experience of recovery, and just like being there in the surgery room, and having having surgery while you're still awake. Like, you know, that's scary. And for him to just be there, and like he was just calming me down, it was just incredible. And then also the recovery, like they even if you have like a natural labor or a C-section, what they come around and like push on your stomach every so often to make sure like you don't have any like blood clogs. So like that was so painful. But you know, having your baby in your arms it's just like if this needs to be done, it needs to be done. It was worth it, you know. And then they tell you that you have to shower every single day after surgery, just so that you don't get like an infection. And I had to get up to use the restroom, and like the faster you get up and walk around, the faster your recovery is gonna be. So I you know, I just had to suck it up, and just getting out of bed was just really hard. It was so hard. Learning how to walk again was so hard. But our bodies are so incredible, because in like 3 days I recovered so fast. I was already walking around, even if I was taking like in like 3-inch steps each time, like it was still a big deal, you know. Like our bodies are so powerful, and it recovered so fast. I felt like I recovered so fast but at the same time, like those, like that first 2 days, they were so hard. Like I had to shower, and like just putting my leg over, like inside the tub to shower, that was so hard. I don't even remember how I did it. I think Jonathan was like grabbing my leg and trying to help me get over. I don't even know how I did that. And then I had to take my bandage off, and I remember I was like in the shower and I was letting it get like all wet. And I asked Jonathan to take it off for me because I did not want to look. And you know what helped? The fact that I'm blind as fuck because I was not wearing my glasses. Because when I got out the shower, I just pulled the curtain open. I'm so happy that I couldn't see because I did not want to see my incision. Like it took a minute for me to like look down and want to look at my my actual cut. I could feel it though, and it did not feel great. It was just bumpy and like big, and like my vagina was so swollen. And I would like when I would use the restroom, Jonathan would squirt the warm water for me because you know, you're bleeding so much. Even if you have a natural labor or a C-section, what they make you do is you squirt the water to help, like after you use the restroom, to like clean everything. I feel that in a week's worth, I did recover pretty fast, but that week was like intense. Every day I felt like I was getting smaller and smaller, and everything was getting better, but it was intense. It was intense. And even just breastfeeding, like that's a whole other topic, like a whole other video. My recovery, I was really hard-headed. I was really hard-headed. I did not want my mom to come and stay here for a whole like month or 2 months to help me. I felt like I wanted this baby so bad, like I'm gonna suck it up and, you know, take care of my baby like myself. If anybody can learn from my experience, please take all the help you can get, all the help you can get, because I didn't, and I regret that. So on the 21st, I have a picture 5 days later of how swollen I was. I'll insert them. You're gonna freak out, but I was so swollen. I was wearing this diaper, and I had to cut like the side of it because it was fitting me so tight. 4 days later, so after that, so 9 days in total, my body was already recovering pretty well. I was still swollen and you know, all that stuff, but I was recovering very well, in my opinion. And I felt so good that day. I was like, I just had a baby like less than 10 days ago, and I'm already almost like, you know, getting back to normal, but not really. I'm like smiling in this photo. I'm feeling good. And I just wanted to say that everybody's birth story is very different. This is my story, and if anything, just learn from all the mistakes that I made. If you feel uncomfortable, please ask questions and speak up. Thank you so much for watching.